What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a good day. We are just getting set up here. Just give us 1 second. It will only take a moment. We have a great show for y'all today. We are going to be going over how nuclear weapons and how they devastate the world and what they could do if, my bad, if they could, if they're let off. Um, I mean, they're a very serious weapon. They should definitely never be used. But I mean, the way the world's going right now, it looks like it could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying it could happen. But yeah, like I said, let's get a couple more people in here and get this pulled up here for everybody. Get the thumbnail done and everything for Rumble. All right, we are about ready to roll. It's going to be a great show today. You're going to like this. All right. So now we got the guys over there Rumble in here too. All right. Now, welcome to the show, everybody. We are live on Kick, Twitch, Rumble, and YouTube. Y'all don't want to miss today's show, y'all. We're going to have a explosive show, no pun intended. We are going to be going over how the nuclear weapons, modern day nuclear weapons, is so much more devastating than what we actually dropped on Japan during Nagasaki and Hiroshima. It is wild. Let me make sure that I've got everything good to go, and we are going to get started, y'all. I hope, like I said, I hope y'all like today's show. It's a good one.
The airport, in a car, on an elevator. What if the next world war isn't fought with missiles and tanks, but with microbes? This isn't science fiction. Biological warfare is a threat so real, so immediate, that it might eclipse even nuclear war. Because while a nuclear bomb destroys a city once, a virus can keep multiplying, leaping from person to person, silently spreading until it topples nations. Think about this. The 1918 Spanish flu killed up to 50 million people, more than World War I itself. That virus wasn't engineered, it wasn't weaponized, and it spread in a world without modern air travel. Today, with 4.5 billion airline passengers per year, a single infected traveler could trigger a global pandemic in days. And modern biotechnology means we're no longer talking about nature's accidents. We're talking about engineered superviruses designed to spread faster, kill harder, and resist every treatment we have. Here's a chilling difference. A nuclear bomb is loud. You see the blast. You know you're under attack. But a biological weapon is invisible. You don't even know the war has started until the hospitals overflow. History has already given us warnings. In 1950, the U.S. Navy sprayed bacteria into San Francisco Bay in Operation Sea Spray to test how far pathogens could drift. Within days, people reported strange infections. In 1942, Britain tested anthrax bombs on Greenard Island in Scotland. The soil remained contaminated for half a century. In 1979, a Soviet anthrax facility in Sverdlovsk accidentally leaked spores into the air, killing at least 66 people, though Western intelligence believes the toll was much higher. These weren't fiction. They were real experiments, real accidents, and real casualties. But those were crude compared to what's possible now. With CRISPR gene editing and synthetic biology, Scientists can cut, splice, and design viruses like Lego bricks. A pathogen can be engineered to spread like the flu, but kill like Ebola. Others can be modified to resist vaccines or antivirals, ensuring no existing treatment works. Some researchers even warn about ethnic bioweapons, pathogens tailored to exploit genetic differences in populations. Imagine a virus that doesn't just kill, but selectively kills. Still think nuclear war is the worst-case scenario? Let's run a thought experiment. Imagine an engineered pathogen released in New York City's subway during morning rush hour. Day 1. Patient 0 boards a crowded train. He feels fine. He coughs once. Within minutes, dozens inhale the virus. By the end of the day, hundreds are exposed. Day 3. Hospitals report clusters of patients with flu-like symptoms. Doctors assume it's seasonal influenza. No red flags. Meanwhile, travelers leave JFK, Newark, and LaGuardia airports, infected but unaware, heading to London, Tokyo, Dubai, and Sao Paulo. Day 5. The first patients die. But they don't just die. They deteriorate with terrifying speed. High fever, respiratory failure, neurological collapse. Doctors realize this isn't the flu. It's something new, something engineered. Day 7. Panic. Social media explodes with rumors, conspiracy theories, and fake cures. Pharmacies run out of basic medicines. Grocery stores are looted. Day 10. Governments impose quarantines, martial law in some districts. But compliance is patchy. Some refuse, others flee, spreading the virus further. Day 14. Infections appear worldwide. London, Delhi, Sydney, Mexico City. Panic spreads faster than the pathogen. Stock markets crash. Airlines collapse. Borders close. But the virus has already won. It hitched rides on people who moved before anyone knew it existed. Day 30. The death toll climbs into the millions. Hospitals worldwide collapse. Food supplies break down. Military units report mass sickness. And in the background, something even more dangerous brews. Countries begin to suspect each other. Who released it? Was it China? The US? A terrorist group? Or was it just an accident? Miscalculation could lead to retaliation. Retaliation could spiral into conventional war. And in the chaos, a nuclear strike could be launched by mistake. This isn't fantasy. Simulations run by the...
Fun fact, Google Fi Wireless has unlimited phone plans from $60 a month for 2 lines. That voice you're hearing in your head, that's your budget saying thank you. You're welcome. It is the only phone plan built with Google account security and has perks like VPN and spam call blocking at no extra cost. So why do you need my childhood pet's maiden name? That sounds reasonable. Making the switch to Google Fi Wireless is simple. So what are you waiting for?
That's war without a single shot fired. War waged in DNA itself. Unlike nuclear bombs, which require uranium enrichment plants and missile silos, bioweapons can fit in a vial and a backpack. Now, pause and ask yourself, would you even know if one had been released? That's the horror. A nuclear detonation is obvious, but a virus? You'd think it was flu season until it was too late. By the time leaders realized what was happening, it could already be everywhere. And unlike nuclear fallout, which is localized, a pathogen doesn't stop at city limits. Borders mean nothing. Armies can't fight it. Tanks can't roll against it. Missiles can't shoot it down. And yet, most governments are still far more prepared for nuclear war than biological war. The U.S. has missile defense systems, underground bunkers, and nuclear retaliation plans. But against a fast-moving engineered virus, we have limited vaccine stockpiles, fragile hospital systems, and no global coordination. There's another layer most people miss. Bioweapons are almost impossible to attribute. If a nuclear missile hits, you can trace the launch. Satellites, radars, flight paths, it's obvious who fired. But if a virus emerges, how do you know? Was it an accident in a lab? Was it terrorism? Was it natural? That ambiguity is dangerous, because in the fog of confusion, nations might assume the worst. And once nuclear powers start blaming each other, the escalation ladder is short. So ask yourself this: could the next world war be fought not with bombs, but with breath? Could the next apocalypse come from a cough, not a missile? It's not just possible, it's likely. Nature alone has produced killers that dwarfed wars. The Black Death in the 14th century wiped out a third of Europe. That was without gene editing, without labs, without intent. If nature can do that, what could human ingenuity unleash? The scariest part of this story isn't if it happens. The scariest part is when, and whether we'll even recognize the threat before it's too late. The very idea of a nuclear blast triggers fear. It's a catastrophic force unlike any other, capable of leveling entire cities in seconds and leaving behind deadly radioactive fallout that contaminates the environment for years. Nuclear weapons unleash energy equivalent to tens of thousands, even millions of tons of TNT. The largest ever detonated was the Tsar Bomba, a Soviet hydrogen bomb with a staggering yield of 50 megatons, over 3,000 times the explosive power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Understanding this overwhelming power highlights the urgency and necessity of knowing how to survive such a disaster. Picture waking up on an ordinary day in the United States. Then the unthinkable happens. A missile is detected heading toward a major U.S. city, New York, Los Angeles, or Washington, D.C. Within minutes, the National Emergency Alert System sounds a warning across all devices. Outside your window, a blinding flash, brighter than the sun, suddenly lights the sky before the Earth shakes violently from the blast wave. This is not a distant nightmare, but a plausible reality in today's volatile world. In such a crisis, every second counts. Knowing exactly how to respond can save your life. Understanding the types of nuclear weapons potentially deployed helps frame the scale and nature of the destruction you could face. One of the most feared is Russia's RS-28 Sarmat, known as Satan II, a heavy intercontinental ballistic missile equipped with multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, possibly carrying 10 or more warheads. Each warhead's explosive yield is estimated between 100 and 750 kilotons, and the missile's global range exceeds 11,000 kilometers. The destructive force of a single warhead this size can incinerate everything within several kilometers of ground zero and cause severe damage tens of kilometers away. The United States itself maintains versatile nuclear weapons like the B-61 nuclear bomb, an air-delivered gravity bomb with variable yields, ranging from as low as 0.3 kilotons for tactical use up to 340 kilotons for strategic targets. These bombs can be deployed by fighter jets or bombers to strike military bases or infrastructure, producing localized but deadly blasts with significant fallout. Another key weapon is the W-88 warhead, mounted on Trident II submarine-launched ballistic missiles, or SLBMs. With an approximate yield of 475 kilotons, it is capable of destroying large metropolitan areas. The stealth and survivability of Ohio-class submarines carrying these weapons ensure the U.S. retains second strike capabilities. A nuclear explosion produces a blinding flash of light so intense it can cause permanent blindness if viewed directly. Seconds later, a supersonic blast wave follows, demolishing buildings, hurling debris, and causing fatal injuries across vast areas. This initial blast is accompanied by lethal gamma and neutron radiation. While the immediate radiation is fatal near the explosion site, the more enduring danger is radioactive fallout, microscopic particles contaminated with radioactive material that settle over wide regions, poisoning air, water, and soil. Survival begins with preparation. Knowing your risk and planning accordingly can save your life. Designate a fallout shelter in your home or community, ideally an underground basement or an interior room with thick walls and minimal windows. Such locations offer crucial shielding from radiation. Prepare an emergency kit stocked with essentials, including at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for 3 days, non-perishable food, a battery-powered or hand-crank radio to receive emergency broadcasts, flashlights with extra batteries, a first aid kit, dust masks or respirators to filter radioactive particles, plastic sheeting and duct tape to seal windows and doors, and potassium iodide tablets, which protect your thyroid gland from radioactive iodine exposure. If a nuclear blast occurs, the first warning you may receive is a sudden, bright flash of light, brighter than the sun, which can cause severe eye damage or blindness if you look directly at it. The instant you see this flash, look away immediately and drop to the ground face down, covering your head and neck with your arms. If indoors, get as low as possible, preferably under sturdy furniture or against an inner wall away from windows. If outside, find solid cover behind a building, car, or in a low ditch, and lie flat, shielding your head. Seconds after the flash, the blast wave arrives with enough force to demolish buildings and hurl debris at lethal speeds. Staying low and shielded is your best chance to survive the blast. After the blast, radioactive fallout is the deadliest threat. Seek shelter immediately indoors, preferably underground or in the innermost part of a large building to dramatically reduce exposure to radiation. Seal windows, doors, and ventilation with plastic sheeting and duct tape to prevent fallout dust from entering. Stay inside your shelter for at least 24 to 48 hours, the period when radiation levels are highest and most dangerous. Avoid consuming food or water from outside sources until declared safe. If you were outside during or after the blast, radioactive particles might be on your skin, hair, and clothes. Remove your outer clothing carefully and place it in a sealed plastic bag away from others, removing up to 90% of radioactive contamination. Then take a thorough shower with soap and lukewarm water, washing hair and skin gently but thoroughly. Avoid conditioners or lotions that can trap radioactive particles. This process greatly reduces radiation exposure and risk of sickness. Surviving the initial blast and fallout is only the beginning. Long-term survival depends on access to uncontaminated food and water, safe shelter, and medical care. Only consume food and water from sealed containers or sources verified safe by authorities. Fallout radiation decays over time, but can linger for months or years. Follow official guidance carefully about when it is safe to resume normal activities. Nuclear weapons wield unparalleled destructive power, but your best defense is preparation and knowledge. Swift, informed action before, during, and after a blast can save lives. Though the threat is unimaginable, the right preparation can turn the odds in your favor. It starts with a blinding flash. No sound, no time to run, just light, hotter than the sun. In a heartbeat, a city disappears. Concrete turns to vapor. Shadows burn into the ground. That's the power of one modern nuclear warhead. Now, imagine 12,000. 9 nations hold them, hidden in silos, submarines, and bombers. Each one built to erase entire civilizations. They're not weapons, they're extinction machines. Let's open their arsenals and see what happens when each one detonates above an enemy city. A 9-axle transporter rolls down a lonely highway, a 3-stage missile sealed in a canister on its back. In minutes, it can be unmasked, pointed, and gone. A weapon built to make the sky unpredictable. This is the Hwasong-18, North Korea's first solid. Unlike older liquid-fueled missiles that need hours of fueling and support vehicles, a solid-fuel Hwasong-18 can sit ready, move on roads, and be concealed among civilian traffic, shortening warning time and complicating any attempt to preempt it. Flight tests in 2023 validated long-range, lofted trajectories and showed the potential to reach the continental United States. Now, imagine a hypothetical Hwasong-18 warhead. For illustration, we'll use about 300 kilotons, detonating over Chicago. The scene is sudden and merciless. The initial fireball would gouge out a roughly 1 to 1.2 kilometer diameter crater at ground zero, vaporizing everything inside. A devastating blast overpressure that collapses most reinforced buildings would radiate to about 3.8 to 4 kilometers, turning dense neighborhoods and parts of the central business district into rubble. The thermal pulse, searing heat able to cause fatal third-degree burns and spark widespread fires, could extend to roughly 6 to 7 kilometers, setting whole blocks alight. Deep beneath the ocean's skin, inside the quiet hulls of France's Triomphant-class submarines, sleeps a missile designed to make nations think twice. Meet the M51.3, the latest evolution of France's sea-launched ballistic missile, now declared operational and built to keep Paris's oceanic nuclear deterrent relevant for decades. The M51.3 brings improved range, accuracy, and penetration aids, and is reported to carry the latest French oceanic warhead, the TNO family, in its upgraded form. Now, imagine a single M51.3 warhead. For this scenario, we'll use a representative approximate 100 kiloton TNO class yield, detonating over Moscow. The fireball would rip open a roughly 0.7 to 0.8 kilometer diameter zone, vaporizing everything at ground zero. A devastating blast overpressure sufficient to collapse most masonry and concrete structures would radiate out to roughly 3 to 3.5 kilometers, turning neighborhoods into flattened rubble. The thermal pulse, capable of causing third-degree burns and igniting widespread conflagrations, could reach about 5 kilometers, starting fires that would race through an urban tinderbox. Moderate blast damage in shattered windows, enough to collapse fragile interiors and create lethal flying debris, would extend into the 8 to 12 kilometer band, threatening millions across a sprawling metropolitan area. Radioactive fallout carried by weather could contaminate lands tens to hundreds of kilometers downwind, crippling emergency response and creating long-term exclusion zones. A convoy rumbles down a remote highway, a canistered colossus riding on its back. This is the DF-41 or Dongfeng 41, China's newest road-mobile intercontinental ballistic missile, built for range, survivability, and to punch holes through defenses with multiple warheads. Open source analysts place its reach at roughly 12,000 to 15,000 kilometers, and it's widely believed to be a solid-fuel, three-stage design capable of carrying multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles. Mobility plus ambiguity is the strategic point. You can't be sure where they are until it's too late. Now imagine one DF-41 warhead. For illustration, we'll use about 300 kilotons, arriving over Los Angeles. The scene is brutal and quick. The initial fireball would gouge out a roughly 1 to 1.2 diameter crater at ground zero, vaporizing everything inside. A devastating blast overpressure that collapses most reinforced buildings would radiate out to about 3.8 to 4 kilometers, instantly turning downtown towers and dense neighborhoods into rubble. The thermal pulse, the searing heat that causes lethal third-degree burns and ignites widespread fires, could reach roughly 6 to 7 kilometers, torching wooden suburbs and setting whole districts ablaze. Moderate blast effects like shattered glass or structural damage would push well beyond, into the 10-plus kilometer band, endangering millions across the metropolitan area and suburbs. Buried deep beneath the American Midwest, in silent underground silos, lies a weapon that could end civilization in 30 minutes. And it's been standing guard for over half a century. This is the LGM-30G Minuteman III, the backbone of America's nuclear deterrent. It's old, yes, first deployed in 1970, but don't mistake age for weakness. Each carries a 475 kiloton thermonuclear warhead, over 30 times more powerful than Hiroshima's bomb, and can strike targets over 13,000 kilometers away, reaching them in under an hour. Now, imagine one detonating over Moscow. The fireball alone would stretch nearly 1.2 kilometers wide, vaporizing everything within it. The blast wave, moving faster than sound, would flatten most structures within a 4 to 5 kilometer radius. Beyond that, intense thermal radiation would ignite fires and cause third-degree burns up to 8 kilometers away. Within seconds, more than 1 million people could perish. Within hours, the city's infrastructure would collapse. Fallout would drift hundreds of kilometers, poisoning everything it touched. Hidden in the cold, dark depths of the ocean, aboard America's Ohio-class submarines, lurks a weapon so powerful it can erase entire nations without ever being seen. This is the UGM-133A Trident II D5, the most advanced submarine-launched ballistic missile on Earth. Each of the 14 active Ohio-class submarines carries up to 20 Trident II missiles, and each missile can be armed with up to 8 W-88 or W-76 thermonuclear warheads, giving the U.S. Navy a total of nearly 280 deployed Trident IIs. Each warhead can unleash between 100 and 475 kilotons of destructive power and strike targets more than 12,000 kilometers away with pinpoint precision, accurate to within 90 meters. Now, picture one W-88 warhead detonating over St. Petersburg. The fireball would span 1.2 kilometers, vaporizing everything within. The blast wave would flatten concrete structures within 5 kilometers, and the thermal pulse would ignite fires and cause third-degree burns up to 8 kilometers away. Within moments, over 1 million lives could be lost. The shockwave would roll across the Gulf of Finland. The radioactive fallout would blanket the surrounding region. A convoy melts into the morning fog, a canistered arrow on a heavy truck that could be anywhere or nowhere when the moment comes. This is the RS-24 Yars, Russia's road-mobile and silo-based MIRV ICBM, built to survive, disperse, and put multiple warheads onto distant targets. Technically, the Yars is straightforward but dangerous. A solid-fuel 3-stage missile deployable from both road vehicles and hardened silos, with published ranges around 10,500 to 12,000 kilometers, and MIRV capability. Public reporting cites 3 to 4 warheads commonly, with some sources noting 3 to 6 as possibilities. Exact loadouts, yields, and operational doctrine are state secrets, which is precisely the point. Now, imagine one of those warheads arriving over New York City. For illustration, we'll use a representative approximate 300 kiloton warhead. The scene is immediate and apocalyptic. The fireball would gouge a 1 to 1.2 kilometer diameter crater at ground zero, vaporizing everything in its center, parts of Manhattan's core erased in an instant. A devastating blast overpressure that collapses reinforced buildings would radiate out to roughly 3.8 to 4 kilometers, flattening large swaths of Manhattan, parts of Brooklyn and Jersey City across the river, and crushing critical infrastructure. The thermal pulse, the searing heat that causes fatal third-degree burns and ignites widespread fires, could reach roughly 6 to 7 kilometers, torching neighborhoods, fueling conflagrations across dense urban blocks, and overwhelming any firefighting response. Moderate blast damage and shattered glass would push well into the 10-plus kilometer band, sending lethal debris across boroughs, knocking out bridges and tunnels, and crippling transit and port facilities. RS-28 Sarmat, Russia's super heavy liquid-fueled ICBM, designed to carry massive payloads, MIRVs, and even hypersonic glide vehicles, is meant to be the capstone of Moscow's land-based deterrent. Public reporting about Sarmat's payload is blunt. Russia says the missile can carry up to 10 tons of payload and has been described in state sources as able to field up to 10 large 750 kiloton warheads, or many smaller warheads or glide vehicles, a flexibility that creates a terrifying upper bound for destructive power. Imagine one 750 kiloton Sarmat warhead arriving over Washington, D.C. Total vaporization at ground zero, about 1.2 to 1.5 kilometers in diameter. Everything at point-blank range is vaporized. Severe blast, most reinforced buildings collapse, about 4 to 5 kilometer radius. Downtown districts and hardened structures in the core would be catastrophically damaged. Thermal pulse, lethal third-degree burns or mass ignition, about 7 to 9 kilometer radius. Intense heat would ignite fires across broad swaths of the city and torch wooden suburbs. Moderate blast and fragmentation, or shattered glass, structural damage, and lethal debris, about 12 to 18 kilometer radius. Suburbs, transit corridors, and critical infrastructure would suffer widespread damage. Fallout and contamination. Wind and weather would carry radioactive contamination tens to hundreds of kilometers downwind. Under a black Arctic sky, engineers once whispered about a weapon that would rewrite the meaning of invulnerable. Today, that whisper has a name: Poseidon 2M39, an autonomous nuclear-powered
Create stunning, ultra-creative images. It's generated by Nano Banana 2 with OpenArt. Tap Create Image. Just choose the Nano Banana 2 model and describe what you want. Instantly boost your creativity. Give it a try.
changes the battlefield. Imagine a single Poseidon detonating using a 50 megaton yield aimed at San Francisco. Total vaporization at ground zero. About a 5.8 kilometer radius. Everything at point blank range instantly gone. About 11.7 kilometer diameter. Severe blast. Most reinforced buildings collapse. About 20.5 to 21.9 kilometer radius. Catastrophic structural failure across huge parts of the urban region. Thermal pulse, or third-degree burns and widespread ignition, is about 35.1 kilometer radius. Moderate blast damage, shattered glass, structural damage, and lethal debris, about a 55.6 kilometer radius. Radioactive contamination, base surge, and local water shock could render coastal zones unusable and pollute sea and shorelines for hundreds of kilometers downwind or downcurrent, depending on weather and currents. The oft-repeated tsunami narratives depend heavily on bathymetry and remain contested among experts. The world's most powerful weapons are armed and waiting. But what happens when someone finally presses the button? Missile defense sounds comforting. Radars watching the sky. Interceptors waiting on launch rails. A technological barrier between your city and the most destructive weapons ever built. It feels like safety. But missile defense was never designed to save a city. Not New York, not London, not Tokyo, not yours. Most people imagine missile defense as a dome, an invisible shield that blocks anything coming from above. A system that stops nuclear war before it reaches the ground. That image comes from movies. Reality looks very different. Missile defense is not a shield. It's a filter. It was never meant to stop everything. It was never meant to be perfect. And it was never meant to protect cities. Its real purpose is colder. Missile defense exists to protect the ability to retaliate, not the population. Start with the strongest defensive system ever deployed, the ground-based Midcourse Defense System. It uses ground-based interceptors designed to hit intercontinental ballistic missiles in space. Each interceptor costs between $70 and $100 million. Each interceptor can engage one target. The United States currently has 44 deployed interceptors with a total inventory of fewer than 70. That means fewer than 70 chances to stop an attack involving hundreds of incoming warheads. That's not a shield. That's a thin insurance layer designed for limited attacks, not real nuclear war. Now, compare that to land-based offensive weapons. The Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile has a range of over 13,000 kilometers and carries a nuclear warhead with a yield of up to 475 kilotons. There are around 400 Minuteman III missiles kept on constant alert in underground silos. Each missile can be launched within minutes. That means hundreds of nuclear warheads can be airborne before missile defense fires its first interceptor. Now add submarines. One Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine carries 20 Trident II D5 missiles. Each Trident II missile can carry up to 8 independently targetable nuclear warheads. Each warhead has a yield between 100 and 475 kilotons. One submarine can deliver up to 160 nuclear warheads. The United States operates 14 Ohio-class submarines. At least 4 to 5 of them are on patrol at any given time, undetectable, silent, and ready in launch position. That means hundreds of warheads that missile defense cannot see, track, or stop before launch. Now, look at Russia's land-based forces. The RS-28 Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile has a range of over 18,000 kilometers. It is designed to carry 10 to 15 nuclear warheads, plus multiple decoys and penetration aids. Russia plans to deploy at least 40 to 50 Sarmat missiles. That means hundreds of warheads from one missile type alone. Each warhead appears as a separate target. Missile defense gets one interceptor per object. Now, add Russia's submarine force. Each Bore-class submarine carries 16 Bulava missiles. Each Bulava missile can carry up to 6 nuclear warheads. Russia operates at least 10 Bore-class submarines, with several on patrol at all times. That adds hundreds more warheads approaching from unpredictable directions. Now look at regional missile defense systems. THAAD batteries use interceptors designed for high-altitude interception. Each interceptor costs around $15 million. A single battery carries 48 interceptors. The United States has fewer than 10 THAAD batteries worldwide. They defend specific military regions, not entire cities, and not entire countries. Patriot missile defense systems are even more limited. They're designed for aircraft and short-range missiles. They were never built to stop intercontinental nuclear warheads. They exist in the hundreds, but they are irrelevant against strategic nuclear strikes. Aegis missile defense systems use SM-3 interceptors. Each SM-3 interceptor costs between $10 and $25 million. They are effective mainly over oceans against limited ballistic threats. Even globally, there are only a few hundred SM-3 interceptors available. That number is insignificant compared to the thousands of nuclear warheads in existence. Now, the math becomes fatal. Defense launches one interceptor per target. Offense launches missiles, warheads, decoys, debris, and electronic countermeasures. Defense must be perfect. Offense needs one warhead to get through. Speed makes this imbalance worse. Ballistic warheads travel at over 20,000 kilometers per hour. From detection to impact, minutes, sometimes less. There is no evacuation, no citywide sheltering, no second chance. Missile defense does not get retries. By the time confirmation arrives, the outcome is already locked in by physics. Then come decoys, the system killers. Modern nuclear missiles deploy lightweight decoys designed to look identical to real warheads. Radar cannot tell the difference. Infrared sensors cannot tell the difference. Missile defense must guess. The attacker already knows. Defense works with probability. Offense works with certainty. No software upgrade fixes that. Even when missile defense works, the city's not safe. If interception happens too low or too late, radioactive debris still spreads. Electromagnetic pulse effects can still disable power grids across hundreds of kilometers. Communications fail. Hospitals lose power. Water systems stop. An interception over a city can still cripple it. Missile defense can change how destruction happens. It cannot guarantee that destruction doesn't happen. Now consider priorities. Missile defense coverage is limited by cost and physics. You cannot defend everything. So planners defend what matters strategically. Missile silos, air bases, submarine ports, command bunkers. Cities do not decide the outcome of nuclear war. From a strategic standpoint, defending them is inefficient. That decision was made during the Cold War. It still defines defense planning today. Cities are not forgotten, they are accepted losses. Cities are not defended, they are calculated. Now, imagine the aftermath. One 300-kiloton nuclear warhead detonates over a major city. The explosion lasts seconds. The consequences last decades. Power grids collapse instantly, not for hours, but for months. Water treatment fails. Fuel distribution stops. Food supply chains collapse within days. Hospitals are destroyed or overwhelmed. Radiation zones block rescue. Survivors are isolated. Within days, secondary effects kill more people than the blast itself. Firestorms burn uncontrolled. Disease spreads. Social order fractures. Missile defense does not prevent this. At best, it slightly changes where destruction falls. And the most dangerous effect isn't physical, it's psychological. Once one nuclear weapon gets through, every assumption collapses. Escalation becomes automatic. Retaliation becomes mandatory. Restraint disappears. The first city is not the end, it's the trigger. At 3:27 a.m., a radar operator at Thule Air Force Base in Greenland watches red blips appear along the Arctic corridor, the classic route for Russian intercontinental ballistic missiles. Within seconds, the dots multiply, 5, 20, 50. Those dots are not blips, but boosters climbing through the cold sky. The operator radios.
Command, this isn't a drill. We have confirmed launches.
Russia's modern road-mobile RS-24 Yars and its aging but heavy R-30M family, the SS-18 Satan lineage, are designed to get multiple warheads airborne fast. The RS-24 is a solid-fuel, MIRV-capable ICBM deployed in both silo and mobile launchers. Its practical range covers intercontinental targets, and a single missile can carry several independently targetable re-entry vehicles, a way to put multiple high-yield strikes in the air from one launcher. The R-36M variants were built for brute force, very large throw weights, and warheads that, in some configurations, are measured in the megatons, making them devastating counter-value and counter-force weapons. At sea, Russia's Bore-class ballistic missile submarines can release RM-56 Bulava SLBMs. Bulava is designed to carry multiple warheads with penetration aids and is meant to be a concealed, survivable leg of the triad. Launches from submarines shorten warning times because they can be fired from relative.
Join Google Fi Wireless and get Pixel 10a on us. Plus, save $10 a month on your service. With an incredible camera, helpful AI, and a design that's built to last. It's more than you'd expect for less. Get the real deal with Google Pixel 10a.
But can be under 15 to 30 minutes for closer arcs. At roughly 8:03 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, the first large detonations occur. These are the prompt high-yield strikes intended to decapitate command, destroy military nodes, and vaporize population centers. An 800-kiloton atmosphere burst over a capital produces a white flash visible hundreds of kilometers away. A blast that vaporizes structures at ground zero and ignites firestorms for miles beyond. Detonations at this stage target both counterforce and countervalue locations. Russia's heavy R-36M variants or the RS-24 MIRV packages can be loaded for multiple hard targets. U.S. counterforce options would include precisely targeted Trident D5 warheads or Minuteman III reentry vehicles. Strategic bombers like the B-2 and B-52 carrying modern B-61 family weapons, the B-61-12 being a guided variable yield design, add flexibility in delivery and yield selection, though airborne bombers can only meaningfully contribute if they are already aloft or near the target. At the 20-minute mark, American Strategic Command, after confirming multiple detonations, orders retaliation. U.S. Trident II D5 missiles fired from Ohio-class submarines can place accurate MIRV or single warhead reentry vehicles on Moscow or strategic military targets with flight times that, depending on launch points, can be under 30 minutes. The land leg, Minuteman III, is measured for quick response, and the airborne leg, B-2s and B-52s, offer variable yield options via B-61 family bombs. That combination gives the U.S. multiple delivery modes, but it also guarantees a massive count of warheads aloft in minutes. On the Russian side, hypersonic boost glide vehicles, such as Avangard, reported to maneuver at extremely high speeds during re-entry, reduce interception windows, and complicate tracking. Their presence compresses decision times and increases the temptation for launch-on-warning postures. Modern interceptors can engage some fraction of warheads or their decoys, but MIRVs and penetration aids are intentionally designed to overwhelm defenses. The result? The retaliation wave is almost certain to land in dozens or hundreds of places within the next 10 minutes. By the half-hour mark, the character of the crisis changes from targeting to systemic collapse. Hundreds of detonations have already occurred. EMP from high-altitude bursts and the sheer density of explosions create a cascade of cascading failures. Power grids trip under surges and failures. Satellites are degraded by debris and radiation. GPS accuracy collapses in many regions, and civil telecommunications fail. The skies streak with re-entry vehicles. The upper air glows red with intense thermal radiation and fireballs. All of this produces immense amounts of black carbon and dust that begin their ascent toward the stratosphere. As detonations accumulate and fires rage, enormous quantities of soot and vaporized material are lofted into the stratosphere. The dynamics are physical and direct. Firestorms generated by urban conflagrations inject black carbon thousands of meters high. Once in the stratosphere, that soot is not readily washed out by rain and instead spreads globally, reducing incoming solar radiation. At the same time, fallout from surface and low-altitude detonations sends radioactive isotopes like cesium-137, strontium-90, and plutonium particulates across continents. These isotopes have long half-lives that contaminate land and water and create long-term health hazards. Ocean launches and detonations pollute marine systems as radioactive material washes into currents and bioaccumulates in food chains. The combined climate and radiological effects ensure that even areas not directly hit by a warhead face collapse of food production, water safety, and public health infrastructure within weeks to months. An hour after the first launch, weapon counts and flight times explain the grim totals. Hundreds to thousands of re-entry vehicles have detonated across the northern hemisphere and beyond. Land, sea, and air infrastructure lie in ruins. Satellites essential to modern logistics are damaged or destroyed, and electromagnetic disruption has taken down banking, transport, and emergency communications. Many delivery modes, many warheads, multiple launch arcs, short flight times, and penetration aids all conspire to make the first hour irreversible. Beyond this point, global casualty counts are in the hundreds of millions. Infrastructure is largely destroyed, and the first physical steps of nuclear winter are underway. The planet's climate system and biosphere have already been pushed onto a path that will cause famine, disease, and ecosystem collapse. The technical architecture that kept superfighting states in mutually assured destruction has now executed its grim logic. Months later, the environmental, radiological, and systemic damage begun in that first hour will have cascaded into planetary-scale disruptions. Sunlight will remain reduced where soot is thickest. Harvests will fail. Potable water will be scarce, and biological systems, from insects to crops to fish populations, will be devastated. That was only the opening act. What happens next could change the fate of billions. One moment, the world is scrolling through short videos and social media. The next, the sky glows white. That's how a global war could begin. Not with a declaration, not with negotiations breaking down, but with a sudden chain reaction that no one can stop. Before anyone truly understands what happened, tens of millions of lives could already be at risk. But who would start it? What weapons would be unleashed? And what would the first hour, first week, and first year actually look like? It begins at 3:17 UTC. Satellites detect 3 missile launches from different regions of the planet. One from Kaliningrad, one from the Barents Sea, and one from central Iran. NORAD thinks it's a glitch, until radar confirms the truth. The first missile is a Russian Iskander-M ballistic missile, capable of carrying a low-yield nuclear payload with a flight time so short it can strike before anyone can respond. The second is a Caliber-M cruise missile, stealthy, low-flying, nearly invisible to radar. The third is a Fateh 110 missile launched toward a U.S. base in the Middle East. Suddenly, the world's most advanced warning systems erupt with red alerts while millions sleep, unaware that the nightmare of global war has already begun. There are 3 highly realistic ignition points for a modern global conflict, each based on real-world military movements already observed. The first is a Russia versus NATO confrontation. If Moscow faced internal instability or catastrophic battle losses, it might conduct a so-called limited strike on a NATO supply hub, using a 5 to 10 kiloton tactical nuclear weapon. This strike would be intended to shock NATO into backing down. Instead, it would likely trigger Article 5 and unleash a cycle of retaliation impossible to stop. The second spark lies in an escalating U.S.-China confrontation. A sudden invasion of Taiwan would unleash DF-17 hypersonic gliders moving at Mach 10, DF-26 ballistic Guam killer missiles, Type O-55 destroyers, and J-20 stealth fighters. The United States would respond with carrier strike groups, Tomahawks, stealth aircraft, and cyber countermeasures. Russia could quietly back China. NATO would back the U.S. The conflict could expand from the Taiwan Strait to the South China Sea, then to Europe, and finally across the world. The third trigger is a Middle Eastern chain reaction. Israel might strike Iranian nuclear facilities. Iran could retaliate with Shahab-3 ballistic missiles and waves of drones against U.S. bases in the Gulf. The U.S. would intervene in Israel's defense. Russia might provide diplomatic or air defense support to Iran. China might align with Russia to preserve strategic partnerships. 3 separate wars would merge into one global conflict. Within the first hour of the war, thousands of military systems across the world activate. Russia puts its perimeter semi-automatic retaliatory system on high alert. Over 600 long-range missiles streak across the sky in the first 60 minutes. Then, the first nuclear detonation occurs. A blinding flash erupts over the Baltic Sea. Sensors confirm a tactical nuclear explosion in the 5 to 10 kiloton range. No one knows if it was a deliberate strike, a malfunction, or an intercepted warhead. NATO has 3 minutes to decide whether to retaliate. The world freezes, and this is only the beginning. By the second hour, more mushroom clouds appear. Some are tactical low-yield detonations. Others are far larger. New York, Moscow, Beijing, London, and Paris could be hit with strategic warheads measuring hundreds of kilotons each, vaporizing city centers in seconds. Firestorms rip outward, igniting suburbs and forests. Fallout clouds travel with the wind, poisoning areas untouched by direct strikes. Global communications falter as EMP waves ripple through satellites and digital infrastructure. Civilians attempt to flee, but highways jam instantly. Airports fail as radars go offline. Emergency alerts never arrive or arrive too late. Panic becomes the most powerful force on Earth. By midnight of the first day, government control is collapsing. Millions are dead. Millions more hide in basements, subway tunnels, or improvised.
Switch to Google Fi Wireless and get 25 gigabytes of high-speed hotspot tethering per month for each line on our unlimited standard phone plan. Connect your laptop or share your signal with a friend. You'll get top priority data speeds on an ultra-reliable 5G network. And it's just $80 a month for 2 lines. Join the unlimited standard phone plan from Google Fi Wireless. Switch today.
Night dims under massive cloud cover. The first hints of nuclear winter begin. By the end of the week, tens of millions have died. Societies unravel. Survival becomes local. Fear becomes universal. The first month marks the point where strategic nuclear exchange becomes unavoidable. A satellite malfunction might be mistaken for an ICBM. A radar shadow might be seen as a launch. The United States could launch dozens of Minuteman III ICBMs, each with 300 to 475 kiloton warheads. Ohio-class submarines could unleash waves of Trident II D5 SLBMs, each with up to 8 475 kiloton warheads. Russia could respond with RS-24 Yars missiles or Sarmat heavy missiles carrying 10 to 15 warheads of 750 kilotons each. Within 45 minutes, over 1,200 nuclear warheads could detonate across the planet, killing hundreds of millions instantly. As months pass, smoke and soot from burning megacities rise into the upper atmosphere. Sunlight declines sharply. Temperatures drop by 2 to 5 degrees Celsius. Global crops fail. Oceans acidify. Famine spreads. Billions face starvation. Civilization collapses. Major cities become abandoned ruins. Governments survive only in hardened bunkers. Borders dissolve. The world map becomes meaningless. Areas with water, moderate radiation, and arable land remain habitable, but barely. North America survives in scattered